This week's video is inspired by a message that I received from one of you watching today. And this was to inform me that Burt Bacharach had died yesterday at the age of 94. In fact, the message said, "I feel that a Burt Bacharach episode is about to come out." That was how I found out that he died. I thought about it for a while, made a quick list, and actually, I didn't find it as difficult as I might have expected. There are many great Bacharach songs, the vast majority of them written with his writing partner Hal David. So before I go into my ranking, I would remind you to subscribe if you've not already done so. Click the thumbs up to like the video and the bell to receive notifications of future content. And let's dive in with my top 15 Bacharach songs. And at number 15, I have placed "This House Is Empty Now" from the Painted from Memory Costello-Bacharach collaboration. Now, the message that I received stated that they fully expect me to include an awful lot of Costello. This is the sole entry of the Costello-Bacharach collaboration. If you've watched my Costello ranking video, you'll know that I think Painted from Memory is meh at best. And the reason we have Look Now up here is that there are 3 Bacharach Costello tracks on there, none of which I could name or tell you how much I like them. They're just there. However, "This House Is Empty Now" from Painted from Memory, I think, is the best of the bunch. "This House Is Empty Now" is the sole representation of that collaboration at number 15. At number 14, just nudging ahead of it, is "They Long to Be Close to You." And the version that I particularly like most people, is the one by the Carpenters. Partly because of that incredible vocal from Karen Carpenter, her voice could make the happiest song in the world sound sad, and arguably does on something like Top of the World. But on Close to You, it's a perfect marriage. It was their first real hit. I believe it hit number 1 in the US, but it was number 2 in the UK. Number 13, I've placed "Always Something There to Remind Me," and the version I particularly like is by Sandy Shaw. I believe this was a number 1 hit single in the UK, and as a writer, Burt Bacharach had 6 UK number 1s, most of which are going to get mentioned. "Always Something There to Remind Me" is a great 60s pop song by Sandy Shaw. Sticking with tracks that reached number 1, we have the first one, as far as I'm aware, of Bacharach's number 1 hit singles in the UK. It's Perry Como's "Magic Moments." Now, yes, this is so of its time, but it has such great lyrics from Hal David. Like, "I'll never forget the night that we met, the night of the hayride." Married to that bouncy tune that Burt Bacharach put to it. It's a really good song. It's just of its time, late 50s crooner style. Perry Como's "Magic Moments." At number 11, I have placed "Walk On By." And the version that I particularly like is by Dionne Warwick. I also like the Stranglers hit version from the 1978 album Black and White. If you remember that, Burt Bacharach is almost synonymous with easy listening as a style. To have a punk band take that song 15 or so years later and make a really barnstorming version of it shows that the quality of the songwriting is what really matters, not the style. "Walk On By," my number 11. And number 10 is the second song on this list that is not a Bacharach and David co-write, and it is "Casino Royale." This is an instrumental piece that was used as the theme of the 1967 spoof Bond movie Casino Royale, performed by Herb Alpert and his Tijuana Brass. Casino Royale is a gorgeous tune. Crap film, but the music from it is absolutely great. And I really, really like the brassy sound of Casino Royale. My number 10. Number 9 is a track from an EP that was my introduction to who Burt Bacharach was. And it's "Message to Michael" as performed by Deacon Blue on the For Bacharach and David Songs EP. This is on the second side of the disc, on the fast side. I like all 4 of the songs, one of which will be coming up again later. But "Message to Michael" I think is it's just, I think it's the best version of it as well. I really enjoy hearing this. Bit of a lost track in Deacon Blue's canon, but Message to Michael, my number 9. Number 8, I'm returning to the film Casino Royale for The Look of Love. This too was on the For Bacharach and David Songs EP by Deacon Blue, so I like multiple versions of it, but the version that I think really soars because of who sings it is Dusty Springfield's. Absolutely great song, The Look of Love. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy singing it. I think it's the best kind of example of lounge music. Look of Love at number 8. Sticking with film soundtracks for number 7, and it's Tom Jones with What's New Pussycat. I can only admire Hal David's lyrics for this, that given the title of a film, What's New Pussycat, that he came up with a song like this. And so it's just daft and silly, and the music, though, from Burt Bacharach is what really makes it. Terrific, great tune, What's New Pussycat, allied with superb delivery by Tom Jones. Number 6, I have placed Gene Pitney's 24 Hours from Tulsa. This is a great song about someone striving to get home to see their spouse. They're only 24 hours away from there and they end up having an affair. It's a tragic song, really. I was only 24 hours from Tulsa, but I made a mistake. I've wrecked our relationship. It's a great song, 24 Hours from Tulsa. And number 5, they're my favourite bands, so the fact that I've managed to worm them into this list is great. It's Baby It's You from the Please Please Me album by the Beatles. Now, I said that Deacon Blue were my introduction to Bacharach and David because it was written large on the single sleeve. But this is probably the first Bacharach and David song that I ever heard, because I'd heard Please Please Me years before. I just didn't know who'd really written it in my ignorance. And so this is my first Bacharach and David song of which I can honestly say I was properly aware. I think the Beatles version is great. I like the Shirelles version. This was even a single for the Beatles from the Live at the BBC compilation that came out in the mid-90s. It's a really, really fine song. And number 4, I placed a song that reached number 1 in the UK, one of the 6 that Burt Bacharach had as a writer, and it's Make It Easy on Yourself by the Walker Brothers. Scott Walker's baritone vocal, allied with the pathos dripping through the lyrics of Make It Easy on Yourself, because breaking up is so very hard to do, that alludes back to the songwriting of Neil Sedaka, is just a great song. Worthy number 1 hit single for the Walker Brothers and for Bacharach and David. Number 3, I have placed one of my favourite songs to play on the piano ever. I just love the circle of fifths that this song employs. It's not a Bacharach and David song. It was written by Burt Bacharach, Christopher Cross, and Carol Bayer Sager. It's Arthur's theme from the film Arthur. Won an Oscar. Brilliant song. It's I never tire of hearing that circle of fifths in the verse. So much so that I have played it myself, and that's what you listen to as the theme for this episode. Number 3, Arthur's theme by Christopher Cross. And at number 2 and number 1, these two songs have switched places in my ranking several times. Ultimately, for number 2, I have gone with a song that, for me, cannot be divorced from the singer of it. And it's I Say a Little Prayer by Aretha Franklin. No version comes anywhere near close. This is perfect marriage of vocalist and song and songwriter. Say a Little Prayer is just incredible. And the reason that it's number 2 is because I can't separate the singer from the song. Whereas what I've placed at number 1, I have heard multiple different versions of, and it shines still. It's I'll Never Fall in Love Again. My preferred version is by Deacon Blue. from the For Bacharach and David Songs EP should have reached number 1. Should have been Deacon Blues' sole UK number 1, but stuck at number 2 behind Timmy Bloody Mallet. But I also like Bobby Gentry's version. I like the version that is more upbeat, that was in a bossa nova style, that was done by Burt Bacharach and Elvis Costello in the Spy Who Shagged Me movie. When a song can be done in multiple different styles, that aching ballad of Deacon Blues versus the bossa nova from the film, it shows what a robust, unbreakable song it is. And actually, it's got some really complicated chord structures and melody. It's Burt Bacharach's greatest song, in my opinion. Bacharach and David's I'll Never Fall in Love Again. So that concludes my top 15 tribute songs to Burt Bacharach. So I've mentioned as I've gone along which versions I particularly favour. I have made a playlist in Spotify. A link to that will be in the description below, so you can go and hear this great 44-minute, 15-song playlist. It'll make a great vinyl. Please do let me know in comments below or on our Facebook page, Generation Mix and Pockenrop, what you think are the best Burt Bacharach songs. I'm sure you've got your own list. Thank you for the music, Burt. It's been certainly easy listening. I'll be back in a week with another video, but before then, I remind you to like, subscribe and hit the bell, and I'll see you in a week.